So hello everybody, good morning, welcome. Delighted to see all of you. And what we thought we'd do this morning, we'd just have a look at, and with Sally's help demonstrating a few things, we'd bust some of the beauty myths that there are around older women. Now, in my experience, there's a sort of what I think of as the beauty and fashion police out there, who are there to tell us what we can and can't do, and very much to police what we are doing and give us feedback if we're crossing the line and not doing it right. I think that a lot of these women, and it is women who do it, are younger beauty editors and fashion editors, and it's a kind of lazy journalism. I reckon that every now and again they think, oh, I haven't got anything to write about, I'll write about what older women shouldn't be wearing, what they shouldn't be using on their faces. So it's just an excuse to, to write copy, which always looks quite, I don't know whether it's authentic or attractive or what they think it is. But in my view, what happens then is that, women tend to take these things quite seriously, and they worry about them because they think to themselves, oh, well, I am that person that they're talking about. I am older, so maybe I shouldn't be doing this, that, or the other. I shall literally never forget when I was probably in my 40s, reading an article that said that, the less is what I called the less is more article. And it was basically saying, when you're an older woman, you really have to be careful with makeup. It can look absolutely tragic and dreadful. You look like an old slapper, and basically, don't wear much. And I really remember taking this quite seriously to heart and thinking, well, I can probably get away with it for a bit longer, but there'll come a time when I can't. Now, we want to scotch all of those myths and say that's absolute rubbish. In fact, there are lots of reasons why I think that older women need makeup more, which is not the same as saying that they need more makeup. Now, what I mean by they need makeup more is that an older face, in contrast to a younger face, has a lack of a lot of the things that can be restored by makeup. So it lacks color, it lacks definition, it lacks shape, it lacks luminosity, it lacks that sort of dewy look that the young ones can achieve so effortlessly. So therefore, this thing of makeup makes all the difference. And we want to explore some of these myths with you and show you how and why we think, Sally and I, that older faces need makeup more rather than more makeup. So let's explore that together. So Sally, I'm going to hand over to you, and you've got a few things to go through and to share with everybody watching this morning. Don't forget to put your questions into the chat function so that at the end, if there are any questions that you want to ask us, we've got those ready to go. So Sally, over to you.
Thank you, Tricia. Good morning, everyone. Lovely to see you all. I totally agree with what Tricia says. And as a makeup artist, for me, a lot of women that come to me for makeup advice have been told something, and it could have been something they were told when they were in their 20s, to be honest, a rule that they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. But as Tricia says, there seem to be more and more rules for the older woman, lists of 6 things you shouldn't do. And first of all, I would say that makeup is an art form. So we have enough rules in our life. So I don't think makeup should be full of rules. I think, you can certainly break some of them. And the first rule that a lot of people, there are an awful lot of rules about eyes and colours of eye shadows and what you can wear and what you can do with eyes, younger or older. So I today have got on, just so you know, I've got my face makeup. So I've put my primer on. I've actually got foundation number 2, continuous cover number 2, mixed with beauty balm number 1 and a little bit of primer. And I've got some concealer on, but I haven't done anything to my eyes other than my brows. I want to bust a little bit of a myth on eyes. Now, I've got blue eyes, and I remember reading years ago that blue eyes must never, ever wear blue eyeshadow. Now, with eyes, it's quite interesting. With the Look Fabulous Forever eye shades, they are beautifully set into cool and warm. And I think that that is brilliant, and brilliant for people that really aren't sure where to start. And I would always say, if you know that you are cooler toned, go with the cool toned makeup, the cool blues, etc., etc. If you're warmer toned, go with the warm browns. But with eyes, you can go a little bit off-piste. We'll talk about lips later. Lips is a slightly different matter, but with eyes, you can be a little bit more adventurous. And I would say you can definitely play with the eye shades. Also, because our eye shades are very, very gentle. They are matte and they are gentle. So that makes a massive difference. I think this sort of blue eyes and blue eye shades does stem back to when eyeshadows were very different. And sometimes the sort of the really bright blue frosted eyes, I wouldn't put that all over my eyes, but I do wear Bluebell and I do wear pewter grey, which I'm going to demonstrate in a moment. And I do wear midnight blue a lot. I am warmer, but I also wear charcoal. And I quite like to actually decide what I'm wearing. Now I'm wearing today, as you can see, I've got some sort of like a Bluebell colour in my blouse, but I'm complementing that with a warmer green because I'm generally warmer. But it's quite nice with your eyes, I think, to sort of tone a little bit with what you're wearing. So I know that I think Tricia has got, what are you wearing on your eyes, Tricia, before I go on to mine?
Well, because I knew we were going to discuss this, that you can slightly bend those rules slightly. Well, I think Bryony and Emily might get very cross with us at this point.
I know, I'm sorry.
The whole point of our website is to make it as simple as we possibly can for you to choose the colours that are going to suit you. So I would say for, first-time visitors to the website, following the colour quiz and following all those rules helps a lot because you won't go wrong. However, I am going to say that most of the women watching this are quite sophisticated. You must be, you're interested in makeup. You're going to have a more sophisticated approach because you are, by your very nature, a self-selecting group of women who have engaged with this process of what suits me best and so on and so forth. So this morning, I agreed with Sally that I would do this. I chose, one colour that is, we put in the warm tone palette, although a couple of them I think might be in the neutrals palette, but they are definitely not in the cool palette. So I put some cream onto my eyelid. I used taupe, which is a fabulous colour. I mean, taupe is just, I think it should be in everybody's makeup bag just because it just is so pretty and it works so well on everybody. So I've got taupe as the sort of socket line colour. And then, totally counterintuitively, I've used chocolate along the lash line. Now, the reason I like chocolate on me is that actually if you look at that chocolate in the palette, you can see it's quite a purple colour. It's a deep brown with purple overtones in it. And I love it because I think it gives a beautiful and subtle line. So I'm effectively wearing colours on my eyes that could be called neutral stroke warm, but I'm cool toned. But I still think it works. But as Sally said, and we will reiterate this a bit later on, the colour of my lipstick is essential to be cool toned, so it pulls the whole thing together. So back over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you. Okay, right. So I haven't even put my primer on my eyes. So I'm actually going to start by putting my Smooth Out Eye Prime on, which is changed packaging. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on. My eyes are dry and clean. They don't have any oil on. So I've just put a little bit. You don't need very much of this product. That's pretty much all I do. You can either smooth it out with your fingers or you can use the concealer brush number 4, which I quite like to do. So I'm just, now this is for me an essential part of putting eye shade colour on because it will get rid of all the little discoloring veins that I've got on my eyes and mean that the eyeshadow that I use is actually a true colour and is not tainted by the colour of my skin. But it also smooths out, it's brilliant for keeping your eyeshadow on all day and for stopping it from creasing. The eye shades are matte, as I said, so they don't crease, and this product absolutely ensures that they last. So that's my base. So I'm going to do something really simple today, just to show you a simple wash. Now I am using pewter grey, and I know that this is in the cool section, but I've got sort of bluey grey eyes. It's always good to look at your eyes and look at the specks of colours in your eyes as well. And you can be a little bit adventurous with using some of the specks in your eyes with your eyeshadows too. So this is I know Tricia loves this one. It's a great colour. So I'm just going to take my eyeshadow brush number 7. And I'm going to pop it all over the lid. So this is what we call a wash effect, really. And you'll see it goes really nicely with the blouse that I'm wearing. So I'm bringing it to above the socket line. I'm not bringing it too low down my face, but I'm bringing it up really simple. I'm putting enough on. A lot of ladies don't put enough eyeshadow on, and then they wonder why it sort of looks a bit patchy. With ours, because they are so matte and gentle, you can build them up and actually put a reasonable amount on. If you put enough on, then you can blend. So you can see it's a really pretty gentle colour. And although I've got bluey eyes, I think it works. You'll see when I've finished. So I'm putting it all over. You can do this in a couple of minutes. One of the other myths, people say, can you wear, or no, they say you can't. You mustn't wear coloured eyeshadows in the day, or you mustn't wear coloured eyeshadows over a certain age. Again, I disagree, because for me, it's all about toning nicely with your eyes, with your colouring and your clothing. And if it's done well and it's blended well, and you're not wearing really vibrantly shiny, shimmery, iridescent colours, then I think there's no reason why you can't wear coloured shades in the day. So you can go, just creates a little bit of colour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to define my eyes. I always look better with my eyes being defined, and I'm going to break the rules, and I'm going to actually use charcoal. So charcoal is in the cool range, but I use this a lot because I've got bluey grey eyes. So that's the charcoal. And I'm going to take my wedge brush number 8, which I love, and I'm going to take a reasonable amount on the brush, and then I'm just going to take off the excess on my hand. And this is where, instead of an eyeliner, we're using this product to create the effect of some thicker lashes and an eyeliner without it being really harsh. So I'm going as close as I can to the base of my top lashes. I like to build this up rather than just doing it on once. I get a little bit and I put a bit more on, and I wing it up a little bit at the edge. So I've got a bit of a uplift to my eye. And then I go about halfway across. Sometimes I go all the way across, depending on how I feel. But this, as I said, is in the cool range, but it works really well with blue eyes, just as Tricia has done exactly the same with chocolate. Even though she is cool and chocolate is warm, the chocolate also can work. So what I'm saying, I think, is don't be afraid to have a little bit of a play if you want to. What is essential, as Tricia said earlier, is the lips. So I'm going to do this one. I always find a bit trickier, so I'm just basically pulling my eye so that it can't move, and I'm going to start. I tend to start at the outside so that it lifts it a little bit, but you can do it from the middle and work your way into out. I just tend to do it this way, and really, it doesn't have to be done perfectly, because that's what's so beautiful about this product. Because it's not a pencil or a liquid, you can really just go with it in a very, not haphazard way, but you don't have to worry too much about it being perfect. It should look soft and smudgy. There's a lot of talk about when you're a certain age, you cannot wear eyeliner under at the bottom, and you cannot wear mascara at the bottom. I think we've already had a question about that. I've read that as a rule so many times. Again, I disagree. And often if you've lost the bottom of your lashes, or your lower lashes are a little bit sparse, some people have that on one side and not the other, they have a whole chunk of lashes missing, then I actually think using an eyeliner, which is a soft shadow rather than a harsh eyeliner, can give the effect that you are wearing, that you have got lashes. So I do put it underneath. If you're worried, you might want to go for a slightly lighter colour, like Tricia said, taupe actually you can use if you want to go for something a little bit less heavy, then I'm going for charcoal. I'm just going to go for it today, just to show you that it kind of, you can see that that eye hopefully looks a little bit more open already than that one. So again, I go out to in, using the wedge brush just under the base of the lashes. And this is easier because I can do that with my eye open. I don't have to hold my eye. So again, a really simple way. And I disagree that you shouldn't wear anything underneath after a certain age. What you don't want to do is to wear a black liquid eyeliner, thick, heavy black liquid eyeliner, top or bottom, because that can look harsh. But this is a very soft effect that just makes your eyes look really open. So mascara, for me, mascara finishes off the look. And a rule that I remember reading when I was quite young is, if you've got fair lashes, you must not wear black mascara. You have to wear brown. Again, I disagree. We have brown and we have black in the Look Fabulous Forever range, but I must say that I tend, even though I've got quite fair lashes, I tend to like myself to use black. And I use black on a lot of ladies, unless they're really, really, really fair, sort of Celtic with very, very fair skin and maybe sort of nearly white eyelashes, or very, very light, then I might use a brown. But if you've only ever used brown, don't think you can't try black, because actually I think it can really define the eyes, particularly if you wear glasses. Actually, I think it's quite nice to try the black. So I'm going to use Live Lash Mascara in black, and I am going to also just do a quick eyelash curl, because that for me makes a massive difference. So I'm going to get in and curl my lashes. And the thing about mascara is also, it's the type of mascara you use. The Look Fabulous Forever mascara doesn't have little bits and sort of filaments in, which can look unattractive, I think. So if you're wearing a black, thick, globular, filamenty mascara, then yes, I agree, it might not look quite as attractive. But ours just literally coat the lashes. And so, as I said, if you haven't tried black, give it a go. So I'm going to, again, just wiggle it. I kind of wiggle it through my lashes. And this would be definitely one of my Desert Island products, mascara, because I think it really does open the eyes out. So question is, can you wear it on the bottom? So that's a rule I have seen written absolutely after a certain age: do not wear mascara on your bottom lashes. Now, if you've got no lashes on the bottom, then obviously it's, you can't put mascara on. If you've got very, very, very short lashes on the bottom, and you find it really hard to actually get a mascara wand to them, then again, you might want to just use your eyeliner effect with an eyeshadow. But I would definitely disagree and say that actually putting, if you can get mascara onto the bottom lashes, it opens the eyes up even more. If you're the sort of lady that her eyes run, then the waterproof mascara is brilliant. It won't move. I love the waterproof mascara. I wear that because I find it comes off beautifully with the eye makeup remover. I think I was put off waterproof mascara a few years ago with one that I just couldn't get off. But this one you can. So wiggle it through, you can layer it up. So that's the top. I am now going to put it on the bottom. Some ladies do it like this. Some makeup artists do it like this. Some do it like this. It's what works for you. I quite like to just literally, I don't put as much on the bottom. I don't want it really thick on the bottom, but particularly those sort of outer corner ones, it's amazing the difference it can make to open your eyes up, putting a bit of mascara on the bottom lashes. And if you sneeze, blink, make a mistake at this point, which can happen, happens to me a lot, then just take a cotton bud dipped in your foundation, I've said this before, and just wipe underneath to remove any blobs. So you can see a little bit. Hopefully you can see that I haven't put lots on the bottom, but it does make a difference. So you can do it like that, but if you do it like that, make sure that they don't crisscross a little bit too much. You don't want them to look messy. So that is mascara. I would say definitely, if you have got really light lashes, don't, as I said, don't worry about trying black. Just maybe don't put it on too heavily, and make sure that you use your eyelash curlers and just give it a go. Now, the other rule that I have seen written so many times is draw attention to your lips or your eyes, but not both. So don't do a smoky eye with a strong lip. And I know the young girls wear those sort of really strong eyes and almost nude lips. If I go out with reasonably strong eyes and no lips, I just feel that I am unbalanced. And as we get older, I think actually a question of balance is really, really important with the overall look. So I actually I wouldn't go out with strong smoky eyes with a very, very light lip. I would actually like to balance it. And so lips is a massive, we'll come on to lips, we've touched on them. Lips is another thing. Ladies of a certain age, I've seen this before, shouldn't wear lipstick, shouldn't wear strong lipstick, certainly shouldn't wear bright lipstick, certainly shouldn't wear red lipstick. Oh my goodness, the rules that we shouldn't do, it makes me really cross. And I have lots and lots of ladies come who maybe are quite adventurous with their eyes, but when it comes to lips, they've been told or they've read in a magazine somewhere that they definitely shouldn't wear strong lipstick, and they shouldn't wear strong lipstick in the day. Goodness me, definitely not in the day. Maybe at night they might be allowed to wear something a little bit stronger. So I'm going to say rubbish to all of that and be a bit controversial. So I actually think it is a personal thing. And obviously, if you are the sort of lady that has worn a very, very soft, neutral, almost not there, barely there lipstick for many, many years, if you try something a little bit stronger, you will immediately look at yourself in the mirror and just see your lips, because that's just the way you have looked and seen yourself in the mirror for many, many years. When we worked when we had the shops, and at the end of a session, we would put a slightly stronger lipstick on a lady. And when they're looking close up, it's true, when you're looking close up, you can just see lips. And I would say stand back, arm's length away from the mirror and look at the overall effect, and you'll find actually you look more imbalanced and your whole face can come to life when you are using a lipstick that is in the right tone. And that's where what Tricia said earlier is really important. Because I've gone for cool tone eyes, I wouldn't now put on a fuchsia lipstick. For me, that would look wrong because I am warmer. So I am going to go for a reasonably strong lipstick, but I'm going to make sure it is from the warm range because I am generally warmer toned. So I am going to use my favorite, everyone knows my favorite is True Coral, but another lovely one I could wear is Poppy, which is a really nice sort of bright warm red. So I would say, let's just put my True Coral on. And hopefully you'll see. So I've already done my lip primer earlier. I'm going to use a lip brush. So this is Coral, which is quite bright. So if I went with all the rules, I would be told, no, I shouldn't be wearing Coral. Certainly shouldn't be wearing it with, you know, reasonable eye makeup. But I personally think it makes a massive difference. If you have got time, using, this is lip brush number 5, makes a big difference. So, and so the outlining, as though I'm putting on a lip liner. If you are going to be putting on a reasonably strong lipstick, it's really important that your lips are in good condition. Last night, my lips were a little bit dry, so I did the old toothbrush technique, and it's made a big difference. I've got a soft baby's toothbrush, and I put some lip balm, really nice lip balm on, and used my toothbrush dry over it. It just got rid of any dead skin. And that means that your lipstick, if you're going for a nice, vibrant lipstick, will work much, much better. So that's roughly. So I personally think if you are breaking the rules with eyes a little bit, if you're tweaking and being a little bit adventurous, it's still really important to stick to the right tones of lipstick. And that will make a massive difference. If I was wearing, as I said, a really blue-based lipstick now, it wouldn't necessarily look right on me. So redheads. Now, I remember reading, I've read this many times, redheads must not wear red lipstick. Again, I disagree. Tricia's daughter Anna, I know she's not on this call, but she often wears a lovely red. She wears, is it poppy that she wears, Tricia? I think.
Well, she loves poppy, but does go pushes the boat out every now and again and wears Hollywood red, which is our warm toned red. It's probably it's a red, but it's warm toned for redheads. She went to a wedding recently, and she wore she got a warm red dress that she was wearing, and she's got a lot of red hair, and she wore Hollywood red with it, and it looked absolutely brilliant. So you know, you look at Anna and you immediately think, oh well, she can't get away with red would be wrong on her. But there's a red for everybody. Everybody has a red in the world that will suit them. It's just a question of finding the right one. And certainly our stronger, redder toned, warm toned lipsticks have got a yellow undertone. So that means that they are not going to clash with your skin tone, and they're going to look amazing. Can I just add something to what you were saying there about lipsticks? I went to an event last Thursday up in Yorkshire. It was in Goldsborough, was it Goldsborough Hall? Somewhere near Knaresborough. And it was called Silver and Sassy. So it was an event for women with silver hair, basically, although not everybody there had silver hair, but it was basically a fashion event, and I had a brief speaking appearance. And there was a woman sitting opposite me at the table, and she said that during lockdown she'd let her hair go grey, and she was feeling really drab and really unhappy about it. She'd been blonde before. She's quite a big character, physically quite large, but also larger than life, very, very big personality. And she had absolutely no makeup on, and this, very definitely now very grey hair. Anyway, afterwards she was talking to me, and she said, I just don't feel like me anymore, and I'm really tempted to get my hair dyed back blonde again. And she had lovely, lovely hair, beautiful colour. So I said, do you know what? I've been looking at you for the last hour and a half or so, and I'm longing, aching to put a red lipstick on you. Because I think that if you put on a red lipstick and almost nothing else, I mean, she had a good face, a strong face. And I said, if you put a red lipstick on, your whole appearance would zing and it would come to life. And it's more or less all you need to do. And she said, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. And I said, initially you'll find it quite shocking, but it will make all the difference. And it will literally bring your hair to life. So I hope she follows at least tries my advice, because I just feel like sometimes the simplest thing like that can absolutely make all the difference. And lipstick is the key. And there is a red for everybody, regardless of hair colour. So back to you again, Sally.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's one of those scary things if you've never tried red. But if you want to try red and you haven't tried it before, go for the one that's correct. If you are warm, go warmer. And what you can do is actually just blot it right down and just put some lip balm or lip gloss, we'll talk about gloss in a minute, over it, which will just soften it a little bit, just till you get used to wearing it too. Really just so it just becomes a stain of colour, and then build up a little bit when you get your confidence. But it will make a massive difference, it really will. So I read the other day, women over 35 should not wear lip gloss. I mean, who writes this? I don't know. But well, I love lip gloss. I'm an absolute, you've seen me put lip gloss on many, many times. I think lip gloss gives you a slightly fuller looking mouth. It's sort of creating that shade of light and dark. I don't necessarily put it all over my lips, but I often put it in the middle. And it can be really, really flattering, actually. So I'm just going to put my favorite one. I could have put a clear one on, but I love Cinnamon Kiss. So I'm going to put a little bit of Cinnamon Kiss just in the center. Don't need to, but I just want to demonstrate the effect of lip gloss. So just in the center. top and bottom, just to create, you can see that it creates the effect of more light in the center and the way that the light sort of moves, so that I don't put it all over, but I just think lip gloss, and I think that's absolute rubbish. And I hope I am wearing lip gloss when I'm over 100. If I look to be over 100, I will try and wear my lip gloss. So blusher, there's lots of rules about blusher. Now I am today, I've got my peach cream blusher on, and I remember reading you should only put blusher on the apple of your cheeks. Now, everybody's different, everyone's got different face shapes, but as we get older, the apple of our cheeks tend to get a little bit lower, as everything does. So if you put blusher sort of down here, actually that's not ideal. So I would disagree with that you can only put blusher on the apple of your cheeks. And also it can look a little bit, if you just do a little circle, you'll look a little bit like Aunt Sally. So what I suggest, I've put it on already, is this is peach cream. Sort of find the center of your eye, smile. So my apple will be here. I would just go up a little bit to the center, and actually bringing the blusher up, I kind of do it in a bit like it's a little bit like a sort of teardrop shape. Is a little bit more flattering, otherwise everything is too far down. Gravity wins out as we get older, so we want to help it ourselves by bringing our blusher a little bit higher. And then what I tend to do is I put it on with my fingers, and then I use the blusher brush and just using circular movements, sweep it upwards. So again, I don't think just in the apple is necessarily the right rule to go with. Another thing about colour is bronzer. Bronzer, a lot of magazine articles only wear bronzer in the summer, do not wear bronzer in the winter. Now bronzer can be, there are different types of bronzer. There is very shimmery bronzer, and the Look Fabulous bronzer is a matte bronzer. Doesn't come out this color. A lot of people look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's really, really orangey, but actually it's very, very subtle. And I actually love wearing bronzer in the winter, because in the winter, I'm usually at my palest, and sometimes I get up in the morning, I think, oh my goodness, I just feel I need that little bit of extra help, little bit of warmth. And so actually I use bronzer in two ways. And I like, personally, because I'm a little bit warmer in colouring, I do use a little bit over my blusher. Not necessarily the right thing to do if you are very cool toned, but for me, it just gives that little bit of extra warmth to my blusher. But even if you are cool toned, I know Tricia sometimes wears a little bit of bronzer in the winter, I think, but I take a little bit of bronzer and put it where I would naturally get sun-kissed. So sort of up here, a little bit in my temples, sometimes a little bit here. This little bit is always paler than the rest of me. So I find if I put a little bit of bronzer in this area, somehow it connects my face to my neck. You can put a little bit on the top of your nose, on the top of your cheekbones. And if I'm in a real hurry, I think I've demonstrated this in a 5-minute video. Sometimes I just put a little bit of bronzer instead of eyeshadow, literally here in my eyes, just to create a little bit of colour on my eyelids. So bronzer for me is an all year round product. I don't just use it in the summer. If it was a really shimmery bronzer, I certainly wouldn't be doing that. But because it's matte and it's really subtle, then it works really, really well, just to give you a little bit of extra help in the winter when you are feeling a little bit sort of grey and pale. So that's bronzer. Concealer, lots of rules on concealer. One of those is that you should definitely wear concealer that is lighter than your skin. Now, that's a little bit controversial because it depends what you're using concealer for. If you're using concealer to cover up age spots or sunspots or a spot or just little bits of discoloration, if you use a really light colour concealer, it will actually draw more attention. I sometimes have young girls come for makeup lessons and they use a very light concealer on a spot, and all they're doing then is drawing huge amount of attention to that spot because it's lighter than everywhere else. So I have got as I said, continuous cover foundation number 2 on today, but mixed with a little bit of Light Look Beauty Balm 1. So I'm using concealer number 2, so that the concealer, our concealer is really creamy. And so what it is actually a slight, and it's basically an extension of the foundation for me, and I'm just going over little areas where I need a little bit more help. So if I went over the areas with a much lighter concealer, then I think it would stand out too much. So I would say often on your face and the areas like that, go, and even around the eyes, you don't want panda effect eyes, whether it's really, really light under the eyes. Another, it's not really a rule, but a lot of people use or think they should use, as they get older, something lighter under their eyes, like the Instant Bright highlight. And I don't know if any of you years ago ever used touche éclat. Touche éclat, a lot of people use touche éclat under their eyes as a concealer. When you're young and you've got no lines and you've got beautiful smooth skin, it can work, but it's actually a highlighter. So I would not use this product here because it will just highlight any lines that I've got there. This is a highlighter. I use it on my cheekbones, under my eye, under my eyebrows to bring forwards. But the concealer, the creaminess of the concealer, used sparingly, you don't need loads, in the right shade, is really important for under the eye. So don't think you've got to go really, really light in colour or really, really light in texture around the eyes with a highlighter. We don't want to wear a highlighter. So powder, that's the other thing. People say, and I've seen this before, do not use powder once you've got lines on your face. Don't use any kind of face powder on older skin because it will sit in the lines. Now, to an extent, powder can sit in lines if it's the wrong type of powder. I went to have my makeup done must be about 5 or 6 years ago now, just to see what the latest sort of tips and tricks were in a well-known department store. And the makeup artist, I didn't tell her that I did makeup, I just wanted to see what she used. And she did a beautiful job on my eyes, but right at the end, she put powder on, and the powder was not a fine powder. And suddenly every line here that I had was sort of showing, and I looked about 10 years older, literally from that one application of powder. The powder you need to use is a really fine powder, and that makes all the difference. So the translucent powder that Look Fabulous Forever do is so finely milled that it doesn't sit in lines at all. And it's really important for 2 reasons. It will basically set your makeup. I always put a little bit of powder on right at the end, just to make sure that my makeup lasts all day, particularly if you're going to get hot and bothered. It will just hold it in place. And if you've concealed something, or particularly around the eyes or any little areas, I use a little bit of powder just on those areas, just to make sure, like that it will just stay. And it's a brilliant product. If it was not a fine powder, I wouldn't do it. I absolutely wouldn't. But this is so pure. I was so excited when Look Fabulous Forever brought this out, because actually it's quite hard to find a very good fine pressed powder that you can use as a sort of a loose powder and a pressed powder, and it's brilliant. So I would disagree that over a certain age you can't use powder, but just make sure it's a really finely milled one. So I think sort of in total, what I would say in summary is, if you've been told something that it's stuck with you when you were young or a few weeks ago that you can't do this, you can't do that, then I would say just disregard it, be a little bit of a rebel, and think about it's how you apply makeup and the makeup that you use as much as the colors, and it's using good products that are specifically designed for older skin, and using brushes to blend them well. But makeup should be fun. Makeup has definitely changed over the years, so I would say something you might have been told 20 years ago doesn't necessarily stand now, because makeup formulations have changed. And I think that makeup is self-expression and should be fun. So I think kind of try and get rid of some of those rules and actually enjoy the aspect of trying and playing and doing things that maybe someone's told you not to do. It's very satisfying actually doing something that someone's told you not to do, and then someone else going, wow, you look really nice, and you'll feel really good because you'll have done something naughty but you'll look great. So I hope that has helped and has debunked a few myths, but I would say just have fun and don't listen to all these rules written by journalists. Absolutely not. Okay.
Thank you very much indeed, Sally. That was brilliant. I just wanted to say something about how I use powder and bronzer, because it's slightly different from what Sally's just suggested there, and it really works for me. So I do the concealer thing, and that's a really important part of my routine because I've got areas that I definitely now want to get rid of. I then use, as she suggested, the small brush to take down any slight shine from my concealer that's left on my face. So I use the translucent powder. What I then do is take a big fat brush, our brush number 1, and I sweep translucent powder over my face at that point. So I've just got my foundation on, I've done my concealer, I then do the translucent powder. Then I use the bronzer. And the reason I put the translucent powder on first and then use the bronzer is that I find it's the best way for me to put the bronzer on as a very subtle wash of warmer tone. And it doesn't grab onto my skin anywhere. I used to find there was a slight problem. So it's, say I was doing my what's this part called? My forehead. I would find that I might sort of get slight patches of bronzer there, and it would be like, oh, I've got to rub that off because it's not blended properly. But if I put a little bit of translucent powder on first and then the bronzer, bingo, it works. And then I do my highlighter, and then I do my my blusher. So that's the sort of order that we often get questions about, order of things. That's the order that I do things in. I do hope that helps you, because I think they're both the bronzer and the translucent powder are powders. So they need to be swept over the skin. And as I said, if they start to cling somewhere, they don't look good and they're not actually doing the job that you need them to do. So I do hope that was helpful. Let's come to Emily and just see if we've got some questions.
Yes, we have a lot of questions today. The first one from Charlotte is, I have lips with not very much definition. Can I use lip liner?
What do you think, Sally, about lip liner?
I'm not against lip liner if it's lip liner. If I use it, I make sure that I use it on the outer edge, but also all over the lips, so that you're not left with that line, that awful line when the lipstick might come off. So I would use it, and I would then use my finger just to sort of blend it in and create a bit of a stain before using the lipstick. So there's no reason why you can't, but just make sure you don't go too low. If you're trying to correct a lip, don't look obviously too much lower than your actual line. But yeah, no, you absolutely can. But again, and try and keep it a very similar color to your lipstick.
I'm really not keen on lip liner at all, and I don't like that effect of having a slightly different color at the edge. So that's why I decided on a lip primer and actually only use a lip brush to get a nice sharp edge and all that kind of thing. If you do want a lip brush, I can recommend one. I think it's by MAC and it's called Spice, and it's I think it's the closest to a natural lip color, and that's the whole idea, is that you put this on the edges of your lips and across, and as Sally says, all over your lips. Then you rub it in, and that creates like a sealed lip area onto which you can then put your lipstick. So the idea is that you're creating a sort of like a canvas in a particular place with a very neutral color, but it's designed then to hold that lipstick and for it to look sharp at the edge and all that kind of thing. So if you are very attached to the idea of a lip liner and you want that effect, you want to use a lip liner, then my advice is use it in the way that Sally's just said, around the edges and then across the whole lip thing, and go for a color that is close to your lips you can possibly get it. So the idea is not to put, say, a red lip liner on and then fill in with a red lipstick, because what will happen is the red lipstick will come off during the day and you'll still be left with a line around your mouth. So Hope that helps.
I actually use Spice and it's very, very good. I can recommend it. Yeah. Very neutral tone.
Advice from a 20-something.
Yeah. And so the next one from Mary is, I have slitty eyes, not really heavy lidded. How can I open up my eyes, please?
Not really heavy lidded. So smaller.
I think sort of slanty eyes, maybe.
Okay.
Feel free to clarify, Mary, if you like.
Aye, it's just if yeah, they don't open up. They're not bright. They're not large. They are slitty. They're not oriental eyes at all. No. They just seem to get smaller, that narrower and narrower, shall I say?
Right. Okay. I would then try, Mary, to create a slightly higher false socket line. We should have shown that on video. So I'm going to use charcoal, which is quite dark, a little bit higher here. So if you've got, we might not want to go as dark as charcoal, but a slightly darker color, a little bit higher, but maybe keep the actual lid of your eye a little bit lighter, maybe with cream. So even just doing what Tricia's done with cream all over, because cream is light colors bring forward. So you can use a cream as your base, Mary, and then use the taupe a little bit higher than feels natural. You see, like I've gone there, which will create a slightly higher look, as though your socket line is higher than it is. And I would also try and use some of the eyeliner effect with a darker shade underneath, which will also make the eyes look bigger. So rather than just trying to not put anything on them, I would try and create the slightly darker full socket line, higher, lighter color all over, and using the eyeliner. Would you agree, Tricia? Or any thoughts on that?
I would.
Without seeing Mary, I can't really tell.
I think it depends what the distance is between the top of your lashes here, the lash line, to your eyebrows. If you've got a reasonable amount of space, so if your eyes are quite small, and you know you've described them as slitty, so this bit is more like that. But if you've got a reasonable area here to play with, you can do. I mean, makeup is illusion. So what you're doing as much as you possibly can is to create the illusion that you've got more shape and form to your eye than you actually have. And Sally says is absolutely right. And if you put a lighter shade all the way over and then use a darker shade, if you've got the base of the lighter shade, then actually when you do that darker shade, it won't go on too heavily, because you're not putting it onto raw skin, you're putting it on top of the lighter color. So this morning, you know, I did my cream, but I actually extended my cream up quite high. Then when I came to put on my taupey color, I'm putting it over the cream. So I'd play. And the thing is with eyes is it's brilliant because you've got one eye and then the other one to compare it with. So when you've done one eye, you can keep looking in the mirror and saying, does this one look better than that one? How have I made that one look bigger? Oh, I've done that. That's definitely helped. So keep on looking and comparing and contrasting the one eye with the other eye. But I'd say you can get some really good effects with different tones of eyeshadow. The best thing to buy is one of our palettes, because in the palettes you've got three colors. You've got the pale, the mid color, and then the darker color, and you've got all you need really to create quite a lot of different effects. So don't be afraid of it. Have a go and keep comparing one eye with the other and saying, does that look better, or have I closed my eye down? And if you make it too heavy at the top, it will close it down. So lighter brings forward and opens up. But then if you do the false socket line, as Sally is suggesting, you'll definitely get that a different shape in there, which will work really well for you, hopefully. Emily.
Lovely, thank you.
So Pauline asks, why do I always get a darker shadow under my eyes after finishing my eye makeup? I feel the need to reapply foundation to cover it up.
A lot of makeup artists actually do the eyes first, and I know that some of you do put your eye makeup on first before putting your foundation on, just for that very effect. Again, it depends on the shape. You're talking about sort of spillage onto the eye, I guess. So I would say two things you can do: put a little bit of loose translucent powder sort of here and here before you do your eye makeup, if you put your foundation on first. And then any spillage, I find then you can just dust it away. It doesn't ruin your foundation. Or you can even hold, sometimes I say to ladies to actually hold basically this above underneath their eye, so you get any spillage on there. But often, yes, going over, that's quite normal to be able to have to go over just with a cotton bud and a little bit of foundation, just will remove any kind of mess underneath the eye. I mean, you might find you want to actually do your eyes first and then your foundation. Try that tip.
Yeah, I agree. I use a cotton pad, and I just put the cotton pad here.
Yeah.
And if there is any migration, I think the thing to do is to take a big fat brush and flick it off. If you rub it, you're actually applying the product onto your skin, and you will end up with a smudge. So if you're not careful, you know, you put your eye makeup on and suddenly you've got bruises under here because you've got, you know, whatever color you put on your eyelid has migrated down here, and suddenly you've smudged it. So the answer is to stop it happening, either translucent powder or use a pad, or apply your or get it off and then put your face makeup on.
Great, thank you. And Jill asks, what colour eyeshadow would suit hazel eyes?
What do you think, Sally? Hazel
Well,
eyes?
hazel eyes are lovely. Golds, greens, warm browns, terracotta, aubergine also looks lovely with hazel eyes. I mean, lots of colours look good with hazel. I love hazel eyes. So you can really, you could try the lovely green palette. You can use our soft brown, the warm brown palette. You could use, the terracotta would work, rose gold would work, taupe, as Tricia said, taupe goes with everything. They would be my main advice, I think, for hazel eyes. You can use the chocolate as your eyeliner. Depends, it'd be interesting to see what your hair colour is as well, the whole look. But hazel is a really pretty eye colour, so don't think you've just got to stick with browns. You can wear other colours with it, definitely. Don't think you can't wear greens with hazel eyes, because you can.
Perfect, thank you. And Hilary asks, I've been told that if you have small eyes, you should not wear eyeliner because it makes your eyes look smaller. Would the colour of eyeliner you choose have any bearing on that?
That's a really good question. I think there's two things to eyeliner. First of all, eyeliner can be used, and a lot of women still wear eyeliner on their inner rim, because that's what they have done for many, many years. And that definitely does close up the eye because you're kind of cutting out the whiteness. So if you've got smaller eyes, I actually think that an eyeliner applied underneath the lashes is actually really essential to open the eyes up and make the eyes look bigger. In terms of the colour, yes, you might want to not go black. I think black can be very, very harsh. So I would say that, you know, if I wear, as I said, the charcoal, which is still quite a dark colour, but I think it works on a lot of people. So, but if you think that's too dark, go a little bit, maybe go for, depending whether you're warm or cool, you could go for cocoa. You could go for, if you just wanted to put something on, you could even go taupe, but you won't see very much with taupe. So I would say it's definitely, if you've got smaller eyes, I wouldn't say don't wear eyeliner at all. I think it's actually really important because it will make your eyes look bigger, but not on the inner rim, just underneath the lashes and on the top of the lashes, like I did earlier. Would you agree, Tricia? I
would, and I'd say keep the line quite fine. So that little wedge brush, even wet it slightly so that the edges of the wedge brush stick together better. And so that you're really only putting a very, very fine line. And also go, as Sally said, choose one of the mid-tone colours, perhaps. Like aubergine is quite good. Aubergine doesn't go on very heavily, and that can look good. Cocoa, I'm just thinking of the others, forest, something like that. But keep the line fine, and have a lightish hand. But again, compare and contrast. Look at one eye, look at the other eye, and say, am I making this look better, or am I making it look worse? Am I closing it down or opening it up? Which is what you want to do if you've got small eyes. Open up.
Great, thank you. And kind of in the same vein, Jill asks, does using the eyeshadow as a liner, will that last all day?
Well, it does on me. I think the eye primer makes a big difference to how long it lasts, because the eye primer, you know, what you're doing with eye primer, you're preparing the lid to receive the eye makeup, and it tends to create the perfect base onto which to then apply whatever shadows you're applying. It neutralizes any discoloration you've got, but it also creates this perfect base, which is what primer is intended to do. So having put primer on and then putting your eye makeup on ensures that it will last for as long as it's possible. Now, I put my makeup on this morning, and when I go to bed tonight, which will be, I mean, I'll probably take my makeup off about 10 o'clock tonight, my eyes will still look like they do now. It just doesn't move. So I must be doing something right. And I think the fact that I do apply it quite carefully, but I also always use an eye primer. I think it makes a huge difference.
Can I just say that if you're finding that the underneath is the thing that is moving rather than the top, for me, why I put my foundation and concealer on before my eyes is, for me, I find that because I've got some concealer and foundation and product under my eyes before I do my eyeliner, it's got something to stick to and adhere to. If I had nothing on my face and just put the shadow on, then I would find it does move. But if I put my foundation on and my concealer, it doesn't move.
Yeah, and I'd also say monitor how often you touch your face. I think there was something, when COVID happened, people were saying, oh, on average we touch our faces 15 times an hour, and you don't touch your face because you might be transferring virus from a surface onto your face, and then it gets into your nose or whatever. And people say, oh, my lipstick doesn't last. Well, watch what you do. You chew it off. You're licking your lips. You're chewing it off. And are you rubbing your? Are you going anywhere near your eyes with your hands? Because your makeup can't stay put if you've actually rubbed it away. So really monitor yourself, because you need to keep your hands well away from your face. Once you've done your face, leave it well alone, and it's more hygienic, obviously, but also it will mean that your makeup is much more likely to stay put. So you're give yourself the best chance of your makeup looking good for the rest of the day.
Brilliant. I think just one more question from Sandra. She asks, who would suit the green eyeshadow palette?
I love the green one on brown eyes. Beautiful on brown eyes. Brown, hazel, greeny coloured eyes. If you've got greeny grey eyes, we've got teal green, we've got forest green, we've got soft olive, and we've got fern, which is a new one. So we've now got 4 that are on the green side of the spectrum in terms of colour. And I think I don't wear them, but I think if you are cool toned, then something like teal green. I was staying with my lovely friend Jerry up in Wetherby at the last week for this Silver and Sassy event, and she, when we went out, she wore I think she got on teal and forest. Now she's very cool toned like I am, but it looked terrific on her. But she's got quite dark hair, so it really worked for her. So I don't think there are too many rules around that, but the ones that I've mentioned I think are probably best. And certainly if you've got green eyes, I mean, it really does. It's beautiful.
Great, thank you. I think that's it for this morning.
All right, so thank you, ladies. Thank you very much for coming. Lovely to have your company again, and I hope that was helpful to you and useful. I just need to tell you that our next one, which is going to be the first Monday of November, we are going to talk about no, we're not going to talk about anything. We're going to ask you for your questions, because we did a Q&A a while ago, and it was very popular. So make sure that you get your questions to us in good time, because we need to prepare, get our answers ready, and also put them into some kind of order and group them according to who's asked what. So pop them in an email to marketing@lookfabulousforever.com, and that way Emily will be able to collate those questions and give them to Sally and I, so that we can start thinking about how we answer you. So any questions or queries or worries or concerns that you've got about any aspect of makeup or skincare, do ask us. And then in December we'll probably concentrate on sort of a really winter party look. Who knows, we might be going to some parties this year. that would be a big treat. And so that's the next couple of these Magic Makeup Mondays that we're going to do. But don't forget to get your questions into us in good time. So again, thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Sally, for all your brilliant advice and demonstration as always. And thank you to Emily for running the event for us. And bye-bye, everybody. See those of you who are part of Film Club on Friday. We're discussing the brilliant film with Anthony Hopkins in it, which is called The Father. And it's a very moving and excellent film. So that's Friday Film Club. So I'll see all of you then, those of you that come. So bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.